Hey, what is going on, you guys? It's Epic here, back with another Tribes of Midgard video, and in this video we're going to be discussing what might arguably be the most overpowered class in Tribes of Midgard. We're going to be discussing what it does, why it's so overpowered, and if it should or shouldn't be nerfed. If you do enjoy this video, feel free to leave a like on it, and let's get right into it. So, as you may be able to tell by the title, the Seer is the class in question today, unlocked by getting 10 Bifrost completions within your game. This is done by defeating a Jotun, and then going to the Bifrost and exiting the game for a Golden Horn. Do this 10 times and you'll get the Seer. Now, the Seer in Tribes of Midgard is marketed as the healing class, although what I'm going to show you today, for those of you who haven't already seen its skill tree, is going to say otherwise, because the Seer seems like, to me, the best all-around class in the game. And while I have seen a lot of people saying that the Warden is the way to go, I hard disagree with this, and I'm going to tell you guys why. But first of all, let's get in with the Seer. So, being marketed as the healer class, the Seer stays true to this with its first skill that you instantly unlock when you spec into it in-game, which is called Eden's Seedling. I think that's what it says, Eden's Seedling. This makes it so that you have a 10% chance to deploy a seedling when you hit an enemy, and this is going to heal you so long as you stand inside of it. Now, the higher level you are in game, so that will be 1 to 10 if you're in Saga mode, the more healing you're going to get. This is an absolutely insane skill because it grants you with massive survivability during some of the toughest fights in game, making it easy to stay alive during your defenses at night or during Jotun kills. And I think going forward we're going to go down the seedling tree through to the bottom, where I'm going to show you where the Seer really starts to shine. I'll try to get through these as quick as I can, but the first one I want to talk about is fast revive, allowing for the Seer to be revived and revive almost instantly. This is something which in game is very, very important, as revive times can be the difference between life or death during Jotun fights, during encounters with underpasses, or even during your village defense. And the Seer can further boost this later on in the tree, making it so that you cannot be interrupted during your revive, which again is just ridiculous, because if you've ever tried to revive someone and you've been hit, you'll know how detrimental it can be. And then if that wasn't enough at the end of the tree, you can then increase your dark efficiency, allowing you to deal damage with a bunch of dark weapons. This is something that you'll see a lot in the Seer's tree, but we're going to talk more about that in a moment. But there is one skill that I didn't talk about in this bottom tree, and that is Yggdrasil's Roots. This makes it so that the seedling you spawn when you hit things, you know, the first skill I talked about, it can now entangle things. This again ties into the crazy, and I mean crazy, amount of survivability that the Seer has. If you've ever gone up against Jarn Saxa, the lightning Jotun, you'll know that it spawns a bunch of homing mines. If you have your seedling up, it can stop those orbs dead in their tracks with the roots, meaning it's just going to make that fight extremely easy for you. I mean, this really is, right here, Yggdrasil's Roots, one of the most powerful skills in the Seer's tree, along with fast revive. For that reason alone, this makes the Seer's survivability for a solo player through the roof, and it doesn't stop there either, because as we move up the tree into the leftmost branch, we've got Weakening Dew, an absolutely must-have skill pick for the Seer, which makes it so that every time you hit an enemy, you are weakening their armor and their damage. This is once again an absolutely huge skill, because if you're using this up against Jotun, they're not going to stand a chance, especially if you're using the right element up against them. Now, there are 2 more skills ahead of the Weakening Dew skill right here for durable weapons, but we're going to talk about those later because it ties into my argument against the Warden. But moving on, we're onto the topmost tree now, and this is Hasty Impulse, speeding up your attack speed all the way up to 20%, which doesn't sound like much, but believe me, when you're swinging hammers, it's absolutely massive. Now remember that as we're explaining this, the Seer is pushed as the healer class of Tribes of Midgard, and yet all we've seen so far is stuff which totally goes the complete opposite way and just helps you kill things even quicker. Now again, we've got a capstone here with Thunder Embrace, but we're going to get back to that in just a second. Firstly, before we do that, we're going to go directly through the center of the Seer's tree into what is by far the most overpowered skill for the Seer class in Tribes of Midgard, making this an absolute must-have. The name of the skill is called Tempered, and it nullifies temperature effects in this game. For those of you who are not familiar with Tribes of Midgard, going into a desert or going into the endless winter during Saga mode, or even into the winter in just Glacier Peaks as a whole, it's going to rise your temperature gauge, and when that maxes out, you're going to start taking damage fast. This skill right here can be got before you're even level 3, allowing you to just run through deserts, pick up garnets, pick up stuff like obsidian. Just this skill right here is ridiculous. You could seriously tell me, Epic, the Seer only has this skill right here, and I would still pick the Seer over any other class because this skill is ridiculous. I don't know if they're going to change how temperature works in the future of Tribes of Midgard, but let me tell you, the temperature system is extremely punishing, and this skill right here makes it so that the Seer is pretty much a must-have. You can't go without a Seer because the temperature is just so ridiculous. Now, the final skill in the capstone right here is Hearth Coalescence, which allows you to get extra HP and mana when in your village. I'm going to be honest, I don't think this is all that great. But it doesn't need to be great because we have Tempered. Now, before we move into the whole Warden versus Seer argument that keeps cropping up, I want to talk about the other skills that's in the Seer's tree, which the Seer definitely doesn't need, by the way. Let me just say, the Seer does not need these skills, but we are going to talk about them because once again, this is pushed as a healer class, but these skills make this class a literal death machine. Firstly, Thunder Embrace, boosting thunder efficiency. Secondly, Dark Embrace, boosting dark efficiency. Thirdly, Fire Embrace, boosting fire efficiency. And fourth, we've got Ice Embrace, boosting ice efficiency. All of this making your weapons deal more damage. This is something which I feel should be on the warrior, yet the Seer has it. And not that I'm complaining or anything, but it does feel a little odd that the healer has a lot of skills to do crazy tons of damage. But off of the conversation of why the Seer is so strong for just 2 seconds here, because I keep seeing people say, you know, Epic, the Seer's really good, but the Warden's who you really want to get. And I gotta say, I just don't agree. Taking a look at the Warden's tree really quickly here, there are some things I want to bring up. The first thing is the Keeper's Hand skill, which people say is really, really good for crafting. And while this is amazing for crafting resources such as cut stone and wrought iron, when it comes to making weapons, this isn't going to help you out all that much. I don't know about you guys, but that just doesn't sound all that worth it to me. And after playing with this, I can definitely tell you I only felt that it was effective when I was crafting stuff like gates for the village. But let's talk about a case for the Warden that people are making for it being the best class in the game, which is the Dwarven Mage skill, allowing the Warden to nullify durability on equipment. And while this is an extremely good skill, and believe me, it's very, very good, you may remember that the Seer can get up to 50% more weapon durability, essentially giving it that Warden skill from the very get-go. Trust me, you are dealing so much damage with the Seer that your weapons will not be breaking fast enough for you to even notice it. We've got more attack speed, we've got weakening dew, we've got the Yggdrasil's roots. Like, there's just too much in the Seer's tree for you to even notice the whole weapon durability thing should you spec durable weapons. And again, while the Warden is a great team player, allowing you to build structures in your village very, very easily, you're going to find, as I did last night when I was doing a run with Birdman during Saga mode, that the Warden just has no survivability. I was finding myself dying non-stop, meaning I was always losing my souls. And let me tell you something, it doesn't matter how efficient the Warden is at building structures, because if they can't retain their souls, they're useless to me. Now this does beg the question, Epic, is the Seer too overpowered? And I've got to say, even though I'm Seer main to the grave, yes, the Seer is very, very overpowered. While I do like the class, and while I do absolutely love how powerful it is for something which looks like one of the most boring characters in the game, it would be nice to see a slight nerf to the character. I can hear the YouTube comment warriors right now, fuck you, nerfs in a PvE game? I think not. But I gotta tell you guys, the Seer really is just too much of a crotch character. Things I'd like to see to the Seer, if possible, would be a nerf to the Tempered skill. Like I said, playing with the Seer is a must-do because of how powerful temperature effects are in Tribes of Midgard. So perhaps nullifying the temperature effects is a little bit too powerful, although I would like to see the Seer prevent temperature effects from rising as quickly so you can be in there longer. And also, as I've already discussed, I don't think it's necessary to have the Seer boosting damage to thunder, dark, fire, ice. Like, it just seems a little overkill for me. Now, closing notes. Do I hate the Seer? No, I absolutely love the Seer. However, I do think it's important to make sure that we don't fall into a hard meta with this character, and unfortunately, like I've said in over 30 plus hours of game time now, I really do think the Seer completely renders every other class useless. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Is the Seer too overpowered, and does it need nerfing in Tribes of Midgard? Also, let me know what your favorite class is, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to leave a like on it, and with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.